Ravens Rundown. You're watching it. Joey Petersen, I'm hosting it, and we've got a packed show for you today on this fine Tuesday afternoon. We're going to start with some injury updates. A lot has happened in the past couple of days. I wanted to wait till I got all the information, till we heard from Coach himself. We're going to go down a list of injuries and kind of give you the latest on all of those. And then after that, can this Ravens pass rush be as dominant in 2024 as it was in 2023? Chuck Smith sure thinks so. We'll get into that later. But before that, got a little challenge for the flock. Got a challenge for you guys. Last week, we hit 181 likes on a video. That's fantastic. That's great. Can we get to 200 on this one? Super easy to like it. Helps me out a ton. Helps the show out a ton. Gets it to Ravens fans everywhere quicker. 200 likes. That's a challenge today. Can we do it? Let's see. Let's get into the injury updates. We're going to start with the rookie, and that's Nate Wiggins. Shoulder injury. We all saw it happen Friday night against the Eagles. Was really worried it was a collarbone injury. Might be broken. Might be out for a month or two maybe. Jordan Schultz had the tweet a couple days ago. Source, an MRI revealed that Ravens rookie cornerback Nate Wiggins' shoulder injury is not as serious as initially feared, and he should be ready to play week 1. Wiggins, the first rounder out of Clemson, was excellent in his NFL debut Friday night, making a number of impressive plays. Can I get a PTL? Can I get a hallelujah? I don't know if I'm sure you guys felt the same way. Gas, heart dropped to the bottom of your stomach when you saw him going down to the locker room to possibly get an injury scan. So just, oh my gosh, so thankful he's okay, because if you look at what he did Friday night in the limited time that he was out there, here's his PFF grades, 90.2 coverage grade, 8 yards allowed, and that lock emoji is because he was locking wide receivers down all night, 42.4% passer rating for the opposing quarterbacks. He was phenomenal Friday, lets us believe he's going to be phenomenal this season, so just huge sigh of relief. Looks like it's nothing serious. I'm sure he'll get ramped up in practice in the next couple days, maybe next week. Again, like I said yesterday, I wouldn't play him in the next couple preseason games, maybe the third one. Let's get him healthy, get him ready for that first regular season game against the Chiefs on Thursday night. My second update, another scary one. Kyle Hamilton, leg injury, Sunday practice, just non-contact, which is almost the scariest part, right? How many times a year do we hear non-contact injuries? And those are just so frustrating. The same thing with Kyle Hamilton on Sunday's practice. John Harbaugh, though, calmed a lot of people down after it, saying, looks stable, looks good. Obviously, we'll continue to do some tests tonight and tomorrow to make sure, but first indications are that he is fine. Can I get a PTL part 2? Can I get a hallelujah? It seems like this secondary is kind of dodging bullets, and I know it's kind of hard to say because there are a few secondary injuries like Trayvon Mullen, like Arthur Maulet, that we're going through right now as Ravens fans. But Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins, arguably two of your more important players on defense and in that secondary, both seem to dodge major bullets. And it's so important to have Kyle Hamilton on this team this season. If you look at his usage rate, he's not just a safety. He's not just a secondary player. He's just a football player. He's a Swiss Army knife. Last year, 22.2% of the snaps, and this is at 13 weeks through last season, 22.2% of the snaps, he was lined up in the box. 29.9% of the snaps, he was lined up at free safety when the play snapped. And 42.3% of the time, he is lined up in the slot. He goes everywhere. He does everything. I know Roquan Smith is the quarterback of this defense. Kyle Hamilton might be the head coach. Maybe Roquan's the head coach. Kyle Hamilton's the quarterback. Either way, he's important. And it is a big, big, big sigh of relief that it seemed to be nothing serious what happened Sunday. How concerned are you guys with it, though? Scale it 1 to 10 for me down in the comment section. I'd say 3. Initially, I was probably a 6 when I saw the tweets, and I saw that the news came out that he suffered a non-contact injury and had to leave practice. Right now, I'd say 2 or 3. Definitely more thankful than concerned with how it's playing out so far. Next on our list, staying in the secondary, TJ Tampa. This is some pretty good news. Came back to practice yesterday. Hernia surgery. And, man, it's been not great not having him there so far. You always want those rookies to come into to training camp and get all the experience, get all the practice that they can with this new team, in this new scheme, in this new league. And he hasn't been able to do that yet, but fantastic news. Practice yesterday. He's back. And it's a great thing because this is a guy that you're expecting some production from this season. I'm not going to say he's going to have as great of an impact on this team as a Nate Wiggins might in your first year in the NFL, but this is still going to be a key depth piece for this Ravens team. Look at his coverage stats last year at Iowa State. 25 for 49 completions to attempts per his way. 240 yards led up, only 1 touchdown, 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions with a QB rating of 54.8. That's phenomenal. It truly is. And I know it's going to be an adjustment for him coming from college to the NFL. It is for everybody, but we already mentioned Trayvon Mullen, Arthur Monlette. Those are guys dealing with injuries, and so getting TJ Tampa back in the secondary and this cornerback rotation is going to be massive for this team. Next, staying on the defensive side, don't worry, we'll go to the offensive side for the 5th point. Defense has just been going through it this training camp. David Ojabo, knee. We know what happened last year. September, torn ACL, out for the year. And we know what happened the year before that, tore his Achilles at the Pro Day. He's gone through it in his career so far. He really has. And he didn't play in the preseason game on Friday, and that shocked a lot of people. John Harbaugh provided an update for why. He said, I do think he'll be cleared for the next preseason games, but that's up to the doctors. They decide that. They just didn't clear him for this game. I'm anticipating he will be. What we'll see. He practiced full speed today. He looked pretty good. And that's great. Those are great signs to hear because with Clowney gone, someone needs to step up for all that production lost. And I think David Ojabo might be the guy to do that. I think he has the skill set. I think he has the pedigree. He just hasn't played a lot of NFL football so far, especially for a guy who's drafted, 2 years ago at this point? And I know circumstances, you can't change them. Injuries, you can't change them. But regardless, it's going to be great to have him on the preseason games in the next 2 weeks, possibly. Would love to see him get just one. I think he needs a couple more just live game speed reps before we throw him in there into live NFL regular season games. So I think the preseason could be huge for David Ojabo, so getting him back is fantastic news. Last one, over to the offensive side. Rashod Bateman, rib injury. We got an update for that, but it's kind of a so-so one. Jonas Schaefer had the tweet yesterday. Rashod Bateman's day was short. He was half speed in wide receiver drills and didn't look right after his lone one-on-one rep. Took the pads off later. And it seems like, to me, with Rashod Bateman this offseason, it's been 1 step forward and 3 steps back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's hurt. Okay, he comes back, and then he leaves practice early. And then that happened 2 weeks ago. Same thing happened yesterday. Everybody's tweeting, Rashod Bateman on the practice field. Rashod Bateman on the practice field. That's great news because the Ravens are going to need him this year. And then one-on-one rep. Got to take the pads off. Doesn't practice the rest of the day. Who knows if he'll be at practice today. It just seems like it's a constant thing with him this training camp. And again, I know it sounds like I'm victim blaming here. I'm not. I know it's not his fault. We just want him to be healthy. John Harbaugh wasn't happy when he got so many questions asked about it in the post-game or post-practice press conference. Seemed a little snappy with reporters. I get it. He's as frustrated as we all are. But, man, I'm ready for Bateman to come back because he's going to play a huge role for the Ravens this season. But what do you guys think? September 5th, Thursday night, week 1 against the Chiefs. Y'all think Rashod Bateman will be available? Think he's in the lineup? Yes or no? Let me know. I think yes. I think they'll be really careful with him for the next 2 weeks. But if not, I don't think it'll be long before we see him in a regular season game. Like, I don't think he's going to miss more than 3 weeks this season. I don't think he's going to miss any, but if he does miss that first week, I don't think he'll miss 3rd or 4th week after that. So let me know what you guys think down below. I'm going to go back to what I talked to you guys about earlier, and let's get better. Let's get better today. 200 likes. Can we do it? Can we do it? It helps me. It helps the channel. Helps Ravens fans all around Baltimore and the country see this video more, get this video more in their suggested feeds. And it's so easy to do. Just scroll down. You burn like half a calorie. So you're welcome for some fitness advice. Let's go like today's video. Helps everybody. Can this Ravens pass rush be dominant in 2024? Can they be as dominant as they were in 2023? Pass rush coach Chuck Smith seems to think so. This is what he had to say yesterday after practice. I really don't even care what people think, to be honest with you, Because at the end of the day, we're going to go out and do our best. My goal is to really impact quarterbacks by beating them up. Simple as that. If we beat up the QBs and his ending is not always the way he wants, then we had an impact, and the numbers will come. And speaking of the numbers, last year, numbers were there. Sacks, 60. You might be asking, Joey, what's with the potato emoji? Potato sacks. Trying to get creative here on Ravens Rundown. 60 sacks led the NFL. Tackles for loss, 89. Now, I know that's not always a pass rush stat, but I think it's applicable to defensive line, and I know you agree with me. QB hits, pow, 113. 113 QB hits. This was such a dominant group last year, and I think it's really scaring everybody with the guys that you lost, like Jadeveon Clowney. But if you look at it, this team returns, and Patrick Queen as well, but if you look at it, this team returns 87% of their QB hits from last year and 79% of their sacks. I think they're going to be just fine. And if they're going to be just fine, they're going to need new guys to step up. They're going to need guys like Odafe Oweh and Adisa Isaac and Travis Jones and David Ojabo to step up. But Chuck Smith is confident that those guys will be able to. He said the following: we're in year 2 of guys who we've developed the guys inside. Everybody in our unit has a skilled move. Everybody in the unit understands the language in which we talk. We have certain moves, how we say it, certain things that we wanted to kind of implement last year, where everybody can, on the front, can be a threat. And there's guys I'm looking to this year to be a threat. Again, you lost Jadeveon Clowney. 9.5 sacks last year. Almost 20 QB hits from him. So who are going to be those guys that need to step up? Odafe Oweh is one of them. I think that he showed a lot of promise last year, and he's got the body, he's got the frame, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got all the intangibles. Now he's going to be the guy. Can he do it? I think he can. Another guy needs to step up. We already talked about him. David Ojabo, coming back from that knee injury, second-round pick 2 years ago. Would have been a first-rounder if he didn't tear his Achilles at his pro day. Tragic story what happened. Regardless, happy he's a Raven. He needs to step up this year. And I think he can step up. But I do think it's imperative he gets a couple preseason games, just kind of get back in the swing of things, get back into football shape, if you will, because he's been in and out of practice. Practice full speed yesterday, great sign. He needs to step up. Last guy, Travis Jones. We already talked about him, right? Zach Orr has already talked about him. John Harbaugh has already talked about him. He expects Travis Jones to be a breakout guy this year. And if he is, guys, I feel really good about this pass rush in 2023. You didn't lose a ton. Again, 89% of your QB hits are back. 79% of your sacks are back. A lot of guys are still in that building, but we're going to have to see, can these year 2, year 3, year 4 guys step up and fill in that interim that Jadeveon Clowney left? I think they can. I think that they can. But what do you guys think? I'm setting the over-under at 52 sacks for this year. Still a lot. Not as much as 60. I don't know if they'll get 60 sacks again. That was just kind of a ridiculous season. 53, 54 is still phenomenal in the NFL. Would you take the over-under? I think I'm taking the over. I really do. That'll be it for today's episode of Ravens Rundown. Thank you guys so much for joining me for the best Ravens content every day of the week, all year round. This is the place to be. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and don't forget, like today's video.